Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome your Disrupt MC and TechCrunch senior writer, Jordan Crook.
There we go. What's up, guys? So happy to be back here. This is the favorite thing for me in San Francisco. This is it, literally. So you guys live in a great city. Congratulations. I just want to welcome you to the 75th Annual Hunger Games. We're going to have a blast. I'm just kidding. It's early, and you guys are never going to laugh at my jokes anyway, so I'm just going to give up on that. We have an amazing lineup. They already told you about it. Couple things before we get started. We're going to be using the hashtag TCDisrupt. So if you want to get in on that conversation, the best way to do it is to go to twitter.com and search for @JordanRCrook and press the follow button. And that'll get you directly into that conversation. So go ahead and do that now. And without any further ado, I'm going to bring up our first guest. Please welcome to the stage David Marcus from Facebook Messenger and our moderator, Josh Constine.
Thank you for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
So Messenger has always strived to be differentiated from SMS. First, it really nailed group texting. Eventually, it embraced stickers, animated GIFs, and payments. So what do you see as the next big differentiator for Facebook Messenger?
Well, we really like real-time communications. So as you've seen recently, we just announced and opened up to everyone this new thing that we call instant video that basically enables you to have ambient video, and it's almost like you unmute your video for the other person to see while you're typing, and you can start streaming in that little window while the other person can be in a bus or in a meeting and can still type and see you or see what you want to show them. And so we're going to continue investing more and more in real-time communications. And actually, one of the things that we haven't talked about previously is that we have over 300 million monthly active users of video and voice calling. And so that makes Messenger one of the biggest real-time apps in the world right now.
That's incredible. You guys haven't even had video calling for very long. It only launched about a year ago, right?
That's right.
So tell me, audio and video helped get Messenger to 1 billion users, but many of your critics feel like that was only because you forced people to download Messenger and leave the main Facebook app. So does that ever feel like a hollow victory?
Not really. I mean, we don't feel it's a victory or not a victory. It's like 1 billion users is a lot of users, but like this is not downloads. It's actually people using the app on a monthly basis, and the vast majority of them on a daily basis. And it's actually people communicating with one another and using the app to stay in touch and to build groups and to do a bunch of different things. And so it doesn't feel that way to us. It just feels that like we have such a great opportunity to serve 1 billion people, and we come to work every morning energized by the notion that we can build things and ship it, and then hundreds of millions of people, and eventually the full 1 billion people on the platform will get to use it. So it's energizing.
There's surely benefits from having Messenger be its own app. There's a lot more room for extra features, but you're also cramming conversation into kind of a one-size-fits-all. And recently, you guys started to remove the ability to message from the mobile website. Don't users deserve a bit more choice about how they communicate with Messenger?
Well, do you know any other mobile messaging app that have a mobile web experience?
I guess that's a good point, but still, you're also Facebook. You're the biggest thing on the planet, so I think you must be held to a different standard.
No, but
than
I think,
else.
look, I mean, the whole point of having a separate app is to create an ecosystem. Like messaging apps actually don't work if push notifications are not enabled for everyone. So on Facebook, not everyone has push notifications. On Messenger, everyone has push notifications. And so we want to make sure that like if you use Messenger, you can actually get people to respond faster, and it works because now when we survey our users, they actually tell us that they feel that people will respond faster on Messenger than on even text. And so that's actually great because the first thing that you want the messaging app to be is reliable, fast, and know that people will respond quickly.
But there has to be some situations where people might only be able to use a mobile website and don't actually have either the time or the bandwidth or whatever to download an app. What do you have to say to those users?
Well, so we have been very careful not to remove access for people who are on older Android devices that might not have memory to download the app, or network conditions to download the app at a certain point in time. So like the actual, we stopped serving high-end devices in developed markets on mobile web, but not the other markets.
This brings up the point that sometimes you have to make decisions that users might not like, but that Facebook thinks are in their eventual benefit. But at the same time, those things also typically benefit Facebook as well. Being a fast, efficient, reliable messenger is good for people, also good for Facebook. How do you guys balance Facebook's agenda with user benefit?
Well, I don't think we ever think about it that way. When you build a product, like no matter whether, if you're a startup or a large company, it doesn't matter. When you build a product, you want the vast majority of people out there to use it, to like it, and to engage with it. And that's why you come to work and you build things that are actually solving real problems in daily lives of people. And that's how we think about things. We don't think about, oh yeah, let's do that because we're going to make a bunch of money on the other side, or that's not the way we think about things.
Well, you're lucky because Facebook mostly makes its money on the news feed, so you guys pretty much get to just work on bringing people together. But still, you must make decisions thinking about the long road, about whether that's data that you're pulling from users or boxing out other competitors in terms of the newest capabilities like the audio and video calling that you guys are working on. So when you work with Mark Zuckerberg on these features, how do you guys make top-level strategic decisions about where to go with Messenger? Is that mostly your job, or is he doing that?
No, so we're doing short and medium term and has a very bold long-term vision as well. So it's been great to work with Mark on Messenger. And so the way we're thinking about things is pretty simple. Like, what are the fundamental things that people want to do when they talk to one another? Like, they have one-on-one conversations, they have group conversations, they interact with businesses and services, and we need to make sure that we build the right experiences so that people use the product and find more utility in the product. And so we've invested in a lot of things that we haven't talked about. Like, for instance, in the last 6 months, we've invested massively in performance because while we added a ton of features, we actually made Messenger way faster. So like startup time, aggregate startup time on iOS now is sub 1 second, which is like, out there. And on Android, it's 1.38 seconds. So it's like really fast, and we've cut like end-to-end message sends latency by 30%, et cetera. So like all of those things that we don't talk about are things that we actually continue investing in because we want to make Messenger the best messaging app out there.
You talked a little bit about wanting to be useful for people, but earlier this year you guys launched the Messenger bot platform, and honestly, it seemed a little bit half-baked when it first launched. What do you think was wrong or missing about the Messenger bot platform?
Well, what we want to do here is build an ecosystem. And when you want to build an ecosystem and bring a lot of developers to the platform and bring people to discover new types of experiences and at the same time reinvent the experience and the interaction model at that scale, it's not easy and it takes time. And so what we wanted to do at F8 is put the stake in the ground and enable like all the enablers, all of the companies out there to like come in and start building capabilities and use the APIs. And from that standpoint, it's been successful. We have over 34,000 developers on the platform, and they're building either capabilities for third parties or actual experiences. I think the problem was that it got really overhyped very, very quickly. And the basic capabilities that we provided at that time weren't like good enough to basically replace like traditional app interfaces and experiences. And so what we've done in the past couple of months is that we've invested and built more and more capabilities. We've also provided a lot of guidance to developers on how to build a successful experience. And what we've seen is there are a number of verticals that are working really, really well. So like news is working really well, and engagement on news bots is actually really good, and TechCrunch is like actually one of the best ones out there, and it's true. CNN is another good one, and there are a bunch of others. What we've seen is also that other companies have been able to build experiences that convert users to paid users for their service in a with a much higher conversion than redirecting them to a mobile website or to an app. So Match.com in Europe has built a dating experience inside of Messenger, and they're converting from newsfeed all the way to paid subscriber at 2x the rate of redirecting to a mobile app or a mobile website. And there are other experiences like, there's Nikki in India, which is this bot that does like bill payment and car hailing and all these things, and they're converting 10x the rate of redirecting to mobile websites. And so we're seeing more and more of these things, and today we're actually releasing a brand new updates to the platform, so it's Messenger Platform 1.2. And it brings a whole lot of new capabilities for developers to build an even more engaging experience.
Yeah, I was going to say that one of the things that I thought was the most lacking from the Messenger bot platform at the time of launch was the ability to make native payments inside of bots. And I was going to grill you about that, but it turns out you guys have actually built that now, right?
Yes.
So now Facebook Messenger bots will allow native payments. When you guys are working with some payment networks to build that, right? So it's not all Facebook's infrastructure. You guys are working with payment networks to make those transactions happen.
Yes.
Now you used to work with PayPal. Is PayPal who you guys are working with on this?
I mean, we're working with almost everyone on this solution. So like we're working with PayPal, we're working with Stripe, we're working with Visa, with MasterCard, with American Express, and Braintree, and so. Like what we've done here is like the two main announcements that we have on this new update to the platform is that one, we are releasing a new enhanced web view capability, so you can basically draw a UI and the right UI inside of the thread and determine the height of the window so you can actually have the proper UI still in context of the thread, and native payments. Those are the two main updates, but there are more to this new platform release. And we think that with that, we have the best of both worlds, right? Because inside of a thread, you actually have identity, transactional capability, ability to draw UI, ability to draw native buttons and interfaces, and you have basically different physics to those different spaces. So the thread is there to stay. Imagine that you're actually trying to book an airline ticket, for instance. So you'd go in a thread. The actual intent capture is great in a conversational way, like, I want to go to Paris tomorrow. And then you basically have results that can come up in a web view that's prefetched aggressively, so it's actually really fast. And then you have native payments, but then you can get your itinerary posted back into thread, which is meant to stay because it's canonical, and then you can check in and do all of these things and have customer support. So we believe that bringing all of these types of different modal experiences together is what ultimately is going to make the platform successful over time.
So you cited a whole bunch of those very critical aspects of it, but many of those weren't there when you first launched.
Right.
And honestly, what happened was that a lot of developers didn't feel like they had enough time knowing what the final functionality was to be able to build good bots. And Facebook's always going to be in the news. Everything you guys do seems important to people because there's just so many users. But for some developers, they might have only gotten that one big opportunity to make a splash or to make a first impression on users, and they didn't necessarily have the functionality that they needed. How long ahead of the launch at F8 did you guys give developers with knowing the final functionality?
Oh, it was a couple of weeks only.
Do you think that's enough time to be able to build a great experience?
Well, probably not.
Yeah, because I thought that it seemed a little bit short, and in the end, it seemed like you guys were focusing more on the set launch date of F8. And did you guys end up prioritizing secrecy and making a big splash about putting that stake in the ground, like you said, over being able to launch a fully baked platform?
I think the problem is that you can look at this different ways. I choose to look at it as this is a long journey, and you need to start somewhere. F8 is a great opportunity to get developers' attention. We have a lot of developers that are coming to the conference and that are starting to build. Now it's been 6 months-ish since we launched, and we have like 34,000 developers on the platform. We have a lot of middleware enablers that have built connectivity to our APIs and to our platform that enables big brands to start building great experiences. Like today, there's actually a really good bot that's launching, and it's the Absolute Vodka bot, which actually will get you a free drink in New York City and a bunch of other cities.
Is this vodka?
It's probably too early. And the way it works is really cool because you actually get from Newsfeed to Messenger, which is also something we're releasing today, which is destination ads and Newsfeed, so you can buy an ad and get people straight into Newsfeed and into Messenger and connect with people directly. So you combine like intent creation on Newsfeed and intent completion on Messenger. But so with the case of Absolute, like it actually tells you where to go to get a free drink on Absolute, what cocktail you want to have, get a code, you show up at the bar, you give the code to the bartender, he gives you your free drink, and when he gives you your free drink, you get a notification inside of the thread that offers you a Lyft ride back home. And so like all of these things, when you think about it in the sense of like an app, like that's not an app, right? But it's such a great opportunity for brands to engage their users in a brand new way. And those types of things are actually really working well.
I'm sure bartenders are going to love me showing my code to them on my phone and them having to figure out how to make that all work. But you know, when you think about the platform, a lot of people are saying that bots are a fad. What do you think we're actually going to end up using them for? And why is Facebook committed to making sure that bots aren't just a fad?
Well, it's not about bots. It's about like, how can you get an experience? Like, so we interact with people, and we interact with services, and we interact with brands, and we interact with businesses. So there are a bunch of different things that the capabilities that we've opened up in April are already really solving. So at the very basic stage, like customer service on Messenger, based on the APIs that we released in April, is actually really flourishing, and there's a number of large companies. Rogers in Canada, for instance, which is like the largest carrier in Canada, is now providing customer support on Messenger and seeing a lift in customer sat of 60%, which is nuts for a mobile operator. So that's one thing that you can do. News is a new thing also on Messenger, and it's working really well and has high retention. And then like you have all these kinds of experiences that brands are building inside of Messenger that enables them to connect directly with their customers. And if you're a CPG company, like the ability for you to target a demographic and then get one-on-one with your customers is brand new. I mean, you've never been able to do that before. And then lastly, when you combine all of these capabilities that we've launched and that we're announcing today, you see companies like Hipmunk, for instance, that are going to launch soon an updated version of their bot, where you're going to be able to book airline tickets and hotels in a really fast, easy way. That I think is going to be pretty close to having a native app, and definitely better than mobile web.
Well, I'm certainly excited to not have to talk to humans on the phone to get customer service for flights.
Right.
But voice still is a very fascinating opportunity for Messenger. Where do you guys see the future of navigation and dictation and voice for Facebook Messenger?
Well, so this is not something that we're actively working on right now. So like we have the ability, if you're a bot developer out there and you want to use voice, you have the ability to leverage like voice clips and actually process these. But it's an okay experience. I don't feel that it's just great. But at some point, it's pretty obvious that as we develop more and more capabilities and interactions inside of Messenger, we'll start working on voice exchanges and interfaces.
Yeah, because I would love to be able to switch between threads by saying, you know, go to my message thread with David Marcus, and it'd switch around, especially if I'm trying to use it hands-free while I'm on the go, while I'm working,
right.
Hopefully not necessarily while I'm driving, but you can imagine that that would be a big deal. And, you know, with Amazon Echo and Alexa becoming such a big hit, do you guys just think that you're waiting a little too long if you're not actively working on this voice stuff yet? It seems like a huge opportunity.
Maybe.
Okay, so then maybe looking a little bit further into the future, you guys have bots coming out, you're working more with businesses, but what does Messenger look like 5 years from now?
Well, I think, you know, when you look at all of these entities that you interact with, it's bringing it all together. Like, can you bring your daily life on Messenger in a more organized way and actually have like the best high quality, high fidelity interactions with people, groups of people, businesses, services, and give an opportunity for developers to actually build a presence on a new platform and get distribution and adoption. So like, you know, we're driving not only has Messenger gotten to over 1 billion monthly active users, but engagement, as measured by daily sends inside of Messenger, has grown tremendously in the last couple of years. And like we want to continue accelerating that trend and make Messenger a more essential part of the daily lives of our 1 billion+ users.
Is group video calling going to be part of that future? That's what I really want.
Well, if you look at what we've launched to date, I have nothing to announce, but it's a pretty logical thing to build at some point.
I see a nice little smirk smile going on right now, so it seems like you're building this, don't you? Okay. But thinking about this in the next few years, what is Messenger going to do to be able to kill off, I think, its final foe, which is SMS?
Well, it's just a question of reach in messaging. So messaging is all about the ability for you to reach all of the people that you want to reach, not like 95% of the people that you want to reach. And so gradually we're increasing our reach and our penetration in smartphone users. And we just need to grow that and continue growing it. And as we grow it, then people will continue using it. And if you look at the SMS experience on Android, for instance, versus Messenger, it's kind of a no-brainer if you're on Android to want to use Messenger because the experience is just so much better than the traditional SMS clients on Android. You can do so much more. And now with the ability for you to also get your text messages inside of Messenger, you get all in one, basically all of your messaging in one place. So gradually building more and more capabilities is the way that we're going to make this happen, relevant capabilities.
So you guys are making good strides. You got 300 million people using the audio and video messaging. You're bringing payments and web views to the platform for Messenger bots, even though you admit that maybe you guys would have liked to give Messenger developers a little bit more time to make something really great.
Right.
Eventually, the idea is bringing it all together into one app so you don't have to be popping around into a million different things that don't necessarily need their own app, but you can do it all, bring your whole daily life into Messenger. So thank you very much for coming and talking with us.
Awesome. Thanks.